Okay, so I am not going to try to attempt to pronounce this woman's name, but this is a Portland city councilor. And here she is providing tips and tricks for protesters on how to avoid law enforcement. Listen to this.
Hello, everyone. It's Portland City Councilor Angelita Murillo. Here are some ways that you can protect yourself while organizing for your community. Local journalists like Kevin Foster, who are on the ground at the ICE building, have captured video footage showing that there are unidentified black helicopters flying over the ICE building, and we suspect that they are using that to gather data on people. There are facial recognition technology devices used at most federal buildings, and most people think that they can beat that by covering their faces, but if you just cover the lower half, guess what? You have left your eyes and eyebrows, which are the most identifiable part of you. Even if you do cover your face successfully, some technology can also track your gait and the way that you walk in order to create a pattern that's just identifiable to you, just like a fingerprint. And guess what? Your phone, you should consider this a tracker and a listening device at all times. With your phone, they can track your location, they can see who you met with. If you happen to organize with a bunch of different people and you all took the bus to the same secure location, guess what? They have a pattern of who you organize with and who you talk to and how long and why. So you should get a Faraday cage which blocks the signal from your phone. You should disable fingerprint and facial recognition technology to unlock your phone. And you should have a PIN that is longer than 4 numbers. If you're going to regularly protest, I also highly recommend going to your local grocery store, buying a burner phone in cash, and using encrypted apps like Signal to communicate with people and having disappearing messages on. You should attend protests with people you know and trust, and you should have someone trusted at home who has everyone's insurance information, everyone's job information, and is acting as jail support in case anything happens to their friends. I believe that we will win, but we have to be smarter. And we have to be better organized than our opposition because they have every tool available to them and we do not.
Our opposition? I mean, she's talking about law enforcement like, you know, it's this us versus them narrative, that it's the law enforcement that is the enemy of the people. Meanwhile, if you are a peaceful protester, you don't need to heed any of these warnings. You don't need to get burner phones. You don't need to make sure that you have trusted people who know all of your information in case you go to jail. Peaceful protesters aren't being thrown in jail. If you are peaceful, why would you need law enforcement to not be able to track your whereabouts or know where you're meeting up with people or who you're organizing with? Unless this is, of course, a criminal enterprise. Unless, of course, you're being funded by a group that you don't want law enforcement to know about, or you are indeed not a peaceful protester, which is, of course, not protected under the First Amendment. It is funny how she was warning to have, information on hand in case, you get arrested, which is not typical for peaceful protesters. So it's kind of like she knows she's giving tips and tricks to her constituency that she thinks is going to get in trouble. She knows that the kinds of protests that these people are going to are not protected. And yet she is still advocating for these people to go out and wreak havoc and be able to do so undetected by police. Meanwhile, other protesters in Portland are taking a more peaceful approach, although this could be violating people's eyeballs. Listen to this.
One of Portland's most unique events is planning an equally unique response to the National Guard's deployment, an emergency World Naked Bike Ride. The World Naked Bike Ride usually happens every summer. People bike in the buff to protest pollution from other forms of transportation and call attention to cyclist safety. In a new post on Instagram, organizers say they are getting ready to ride for another cause, responding to what they call the militarization of our city.
It's funny how we talk about this, right? How the protests, they really just show up and show out no matter what the cause is, right? Insert leftist cause here and they're out and about, right? They organize, they get a group together. So it's funny how this started as a climate change thing. Why you need to be naked, I'm not sure. Is it because us wearing clothes contributes to climate change? Maybe. I don't know. These are also weird hippy dippy people who live in Portland. So whatever. Maybe they're just, this is what they do. But it started out climate change and cycle safety. Now it's the quote militarization of the city. And what does showing up naked do? What does riding your bike naked do? That also can't feel very good. If I had to guess, riding a bike naked is not something that I would do. Not in my free time. Not to protest anything, certainly, because You know where I stand on this. They do nothing. But certainly showing up and riding around on your bike naked is definitely going to send President Trump a message. It's going to send President Trump the message that you are totally mentally ill and maybe more troops are needed to handle whatever is going on there. But a creator is based in the Portland area, and he puts on social media, he's an independent journalist, and he puts these videos out of what living in these cities in the Pacific Northwest actually looks like. The homelessness crisis, the drug epidemic. This is what living in Portland, Oregon looks like. Watch this. Just absolute psychotic people. They are crawling around on the floor. They are jumping around. They're clearly on drugs, groaning and under the influence. This woman is walking into traffic, directly into traffic. People just in distress.
This is death.
Being on the streets, yeah.
This is death. This is not life.
You know, at the end of the video there, he interviewed someone who is not homeless, and she says, this is death. This is not life. This is not the way to live. And of course, when you hear these mayors and the governors of these cities that Trump is sending National Guard troops to, they say, we don't need this here. We're fine. Everything is fine. This is a great place to live. Everyone loves it. And then you see videos like this and it's like, no, you're gaslighting us. You're gaslighting the American people. You're gaslighting the people who actually live in these cities and have to trip over these people and all the needles and the human feces and everything that is on the ground. What purpose other than to save your own ass, is it to lie? You're just lying. You're lying to the people that you are supposed to be serving. And this is not what an American city should look like. It's just not. So it is very sad. But when you hear these Democrat politicians, they're lying and lying and lying. And I hate to see videos like this, but it just goes to show that these are lies, right? That these Democrat politicians who say that everything is fine, they are lying through their teeth and they don't want you to believe your eyes. So thank goodness for independent creators and new media who can actually shed some light on this situation and show the rest of America that, yeah, maybe sending these troops in, maybe it is justified. Now, I have to go into this Biden family weirdness. So Ashley Biden is Joe Biden's daughter, Jill Biden's daughter, and she posted this. She posted what we call a dump on Instagram. And here is what one of the photos is. And you could scroll down here so we can see the photo at large. And it's a photo of her working at her, living room table, it looks like, and Joe Biden. I don't know what it is about these photos of Joe Biden. He looks like he's photoshopped in every single one of them, but he is in the corner and Joe Biden's sitting there and he's in his suit and his shirt and he's got his phone out, and Ashley Biden is taking this photo and she's got her laptop in front of her. And if you scroll down there, you can see that on her laptop, there's a sticker of Frida Kahlo on the left. Then there is Beyonce on the literal trackpad. So I don't know how that works. I don't know how maybe she has an external mouse that she uses, but why you would put a sticker on your trackpad, I am not sure. Then here's the part that's the most concerning. There's a sticker of her own mother, Dr. Jill Biden, of course, and it says, "It's Jill, Dr. Biden, if you're nasty." Dr. Biden, if you're nasty. First of all, odd that this sticker exists. Even stranger that Ashley Biden bought that sticker of her mom. Dr. Biden, if you're nasty, most children, no matter how old you are, do not want to picture their parents having sex or anything like that. We're all just immaculately concepted, right? Like no one wants to think about this. And it's just odd that you would put this on your laptop, the Beyonce sticker on the trackpad, weird. The kind of if you're nasty, I mean, who wants to think of their mom in a nasty way? Who wants to think
I don't quite understand even the meaning of it. Like, is it really sexual or is it something else?
I don't really know. But I think it's more like when people say, like, call you daddy or something, where it's like, call me doctor if you're feeling nasty. Like, I don't understand why you would do this. I don't understand really the meaning behind the sticker, but why a daughter would buy that sticker of their own mother, I don't know. Also, can you throw up the photo one more time? Because when I first saw it, the most shocking thing to me was whatever's going on in the background. So if you could scroll up, at what do you think that is in the back? Those blobs.
Plants, perhaps?
Okay. After looking at it for a long time, I said, that is a plant on the table. But at first I was like, are those birds? Are they statues? Like, at first glance, I had no idea what was going on back there. It looked a little creepy to me, but I did stare at the photo for longer than I would like to admit to figure out that was a plant. But yeah, I had no idea at first. So
it is funny that Joe Biden does look like he was photoshopped in.
Right?
He does, yeah.
It just doesn't look natural, and everything else is kind of in focus and he's kind of blurred. I don't know. It's odd. Also weird to post your laptop with your emails open. Again, it's a little blurry, but you could zoom in and see who she's emailing. I mean, it's all very contrived and weird. So I just figured we would get into some Biden family weirdness because, that's how they do. But I want to go into this other story now. A woman in Maine received ballots in her Amazon package. So this is in Newburgh, Maine. This woman said she ordered paper plates, rice, and coffee from Amazon, and it all comes in one package. You know how you can click the little button that says send them all in one package or whatever to save on shipping costs and boxes and to save the environment or whatever. If you order a bunch of things and they're supposed to come in the same day, Amazon will just put it all in the same box. Well, so she bought these random items, but when she saw the package, she said that it looked like it had already been opened and retaped. So off the bat, she was like, something's off about this package. Then she opened the package and realized that no one stole from it or tampered with it. They put ballots inside the Amazon package, and these are blank Maine state ballots for the upcoming November election. Interesting. So everything was fine with her package. She got the rice. She got the, I probably wouldn't eat this rice knowing that someone with nefarious intent, let's just say, potentially, was tampering with the package. I wouldn't eat the coffee. I wouldn't eat the rice, whatever else she bought. I wouldn't use that, or the paper plates. But she called the Newburgh town office straight away, handed the ballots over. Thankfully, the woman who received this package with ballots said, I'm going to hand this over to authorities rather than fill all of them out and vote 100 times because, people probably do that, and people would probably, if given the opportunity, they might do something nefarious with them. But she handed them over to local authorities, and this is what the Secretary of State said. This is Shenna Bellows. She said in a statement, "Safe and secure elections are my top priority. As soon as we became aware of the allegations of ballots being received outside the appropriate chain of custody, I immediately initiated an investigation through my Secretary of State's Law Enforcement Division. Law enforcement is working diligently to determine who is responsible, and they will be held accountable. We will not stop until we have answers." But this brings up more concerns, right? Because this is clearly not the only woman who got this. You would imagine someone who wants to stuff ballots in Amazon packages are probably not stopping at one package. This one package with coffee and rice in it. Let me just stick a bunch of ballots in it and then go on my merry way. This seems like this is part of a larger effort to influence the elections in Maine. And Republican leaders in the Maine legislature, the state legislature, they have said sent a letter to the DOJ. They have sent the letter to Attorney General Pam Bondi, also FBI Director Kash Patel, requesting a federal investigation as well, which I totally agree with because, again, if it's happening in Maine and it happened to this one woman, who's to say that this is not happening all over? And who is to say that it's not happening in states like California and other blue states that push mail-in ballots heavy? It is very difficult for me to believe that we have safe and secure elections, unfortunately, especially due to mail-in ballots. I think that everyone should be off on election day. I know it is a national holiday. People, if you work in the government, you have off, right? The banks, the whatever, libraries will be closed, things like that. But normal people have to go to work on election day, right? There are a lot of industries that do not shut down no matter what. There are industries that don't shut down on Christmas Day. They don't shut down on Thanksgiving or anything else, or Labor Day, etc. So everyone, I believe, should be off on election day because I think that you have to go to your polling place. I think you should have to show up in person. You have all damn year to figure out how to get there if you need assistance or whatever. We all know when election day is. You can look it up. The election days for the next few years, figure it out. Figure out how to get there. Figure out how to show up in person and to vote in person. That is my take. Show your ID, vote early if you can't make it on election day. But, if you have to order an absentee ballot for whatever reason, maybe you're serving overseas, by all means, do that and go through that process. But I don't see how anyone should be able to have 5 to 10 ballots sent to their house, and it's got the names of the last, 10 families who have lived in that house. I mean, there's too much room for error. And again, not everyone who receives these ballots is going to do the right thing. They're not all going to respond like this woman in Maine responded, immediately calling authorities and bringing this to their attention and then launching an investigation after that. How often is this happening? Where is it happening? And are these ballots getting into the hands of people who will do the right thing or the wrong thing? I hate to admit that I don't have faith in humanity, but when it comes to certain things like this, I just don't. So this is very concerning. But speaking of elections, President Trump likes to troll that he is also going to run in 2028. He sells 2028 hats. And as we know, he's been on a roll between Sombrero Gate and all of these other memes that are going on online. He started off by trolling Senator Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries. And he, of course, was making Senator Chuck Schumer say things about illegal aliens that he didn't say in real life. And Hakeem Jeffries was standing next to him in the sombrero and the mustache. We've all seen this, right? But President Trump is still trolling Hakeem Jeffries. He posted this on Instagram last night. Look at this. So this is President Trump tossing a Trump 2028 hat on the head of Hakeem Jeffries in the Oval Office, which I think is absolutely hilarious. It kind of reminds me of when Biden put on the Trump 2024 hat. Do you remember that on the campaign trail?
I do remember that, yeah.
That was iconic. It was just iconic. So I think the more Democrats, whether it's in real life or AI, that we can get wearing Trump 2028 hats, just hilarious. Even Gavin Newsom said this. I forget where he was speaking. I think it was a panel of some sort. And he admitted that the Trump team had sent him Trump 2028 hats. And he said, I think I have 12 of them at this point. So whoever is working in President Trump's, communications office or Team Trump on the campaign side, I mean, they are just having too much fun with the memes. And I say, keep it coming. So we're moving on now to an interesting story. I don't know. I mean, I feel for the people who live in North Korea under this dictatorship because they can't do anything, right? They don't have the freedoms that we have here in the United States of America. But the latest thing that Kim Jong-un is cracking down on are breast implants. The dictator there has ordered an emergency crackdown on breast augmentation surgeries. He says that they are anti-socialist. And Pyongyang's City Ministry of Public Safety issued an emergency order saying these breast implants go against, they They are rotten capitalist implants. So this is a capitalism versus socialism thing, which I guess I can understand. I mean, unless Kim Jong-un comes up with government-sanctioned breast implants, yes, this is capitalism, right? If you want to buy boobs, you can buy boobs. We're free.
Speaking of which, I believe the nominal GDP per capita of North Korea is like $1,200,000 a year, or $1,200 a year.
Yeah.
Who's buying breast implants in there?
It's a great question. And apparently, they are concerned not only with the women who get them, but with the doctors who perform the surgeries. And not only that, they are facing harsh prison sentences and they are sent to the labor camps.
Could it be like maybe his daughter is interested in it and he's like, no, it's,
Maybe.
it's illegal for everyone. It's not communist enough.
Maybe. Does Kim Jong-un have kids?
I believe he does.
I know
kids.
nothing.
Yeah.
I really know nothing about him. I try not to. I don't know. Not that I. Anyway.
I believe he has a younger sister who is like known as a torture person. And I believe he has kids too. Yeah.
They keep it all in the family. I'm sure I mean, again, I don't know much about him. I remember this was probably back in 2020. I was joking with one of my friends. I think I've told this story on the show before, but I forget. I was joking with one of my friends and I was Venmoing her for something. And I wrote in the caption I can't tell. I don't remember if she wrote it in the caption in the Venmo to me or if I wrote it in the caption to her. Because you know how you can Venmo someone and you put what the payment is for? One of us wrote Kim Jong-un's surprise party supplies. And we were both banned from Venmo temporarily, which is anti-freedom of speech, I believe. But we were not planning a surprise party for Kim Jong-un's birthday. We were not throwing him a surprise party. It was indeed a joke. But we got a Venmo slap on the wrist for that. So just FYI to anyone who's trying to have a little fun on Venmo, you can't. It's kind of like North Korea, I guess.
What if you had a friend who just happened to share his name?
Are you able to name your kid Kim Jong-un?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I guess there are certain names that they don't allow you to name your kid. Can you look? Wait, let me look this up. Names that
that's true. Like you can't name your kid Hitler or something.
Yes.
I believe, right?
And this is in the United States of America. Okay, so in the United States, you can't name your child anything with numerals. Like you can't name your kid the number 2, for example. Symbols, you can't name your kid ! Etc. You can't name your kid the @ symbol. You also cannot name your child Adolf Hitler, King, Queen, Messiah. But these are not banned in all states. They are just banned in some states. Because I feel like people have been named Messiah. People name their sons Jesus, Jesus, So, I don't know. I guess it varies by state. But it does not say anything about Kim Jong-un. Certainly you can name your child Kim.
Right. You could probably phonetically manipulate it so that your kid's name...
First name is Kim. Middle name, Jong-un.
Yeah, like John, like John.
John hyphen un. It can be done. I think we can get around it. Not that, I'm interested in naming my son or daughter that, but interesting.
Then you can take legal action against Venmo and guarantee their college fund.
Interesting. A man attempted to change his name to 1069 in the 1970s, but courts denied his request. They said that, naming yourself a number is confusing.
Unless you are Elon Musk,
and the
in which
name,
case it's okay.
Right, of course. What's that kid's name again? X. I know they call him X, but it's like XAE something. Also, Lucifer is banned in several countries, including Germany, New Zealand, and Iceland. I don't know. Can you name your son Devil? I don't know. I guess it just depends on where it is. Elon Musk, son. So Elon Musk has a son named Nevada, Saxon, Kai, Damien, Griffin. These are normal. And then, yeah, how do you pronounce that?
Just X, I think is how they call. Is it a boy or a girl?
It's a boy.
I think they
X
call it
is the
little
one.
X, right?
How to pronounce?
I know he has another one named Exadark.
How to pronounce? It is pronounced X-A12.
There we go. We learned it.
There we go. All right. I have to read this article to you all because it is so weird. Okay. Harvard hired a drag queen. I just have to read you this headline and then also go through the article with you because it is so bizarre. So here's the headline. Harvard appoints drag star Lahore Vagistan as a visiting professor, and right-wingers are furious, according to Pink News, which is an LGBTQ outlet. But I think that it's so funny. Right-wingers are furious. I'm not furious at this. I would consider myself a right-winger. I think this is weird, but Harvard has every right to hire Lahore Vagistan, Dr. Lahore Vagistan, to teach whatever. I feel bad for the parents who are paying for their child's education, and this is what they're getting. They're getting Dr. Lahore Vagistan teaching them whatever the hell. So this is what the article says. The Ivy League University announced that it had hired the drag performer known out of drag as Kareem Kubchandani. Okay. Can't pronounce that. Probably butchered that. Lahore Vagistan is certainly easier to pronounce. This person is going to give lectures as part of its Studies of Gender and Sexuality program. Makes sense. The fact that people go to Harvard and study this crap is beyond me. But this goes on, right? The performance artist and researcher holds a bachelor degree in sociology and anthropology, as well as a master's degree and PhD in performance studies from Northwestern University. You can get a PhD in performance studies? What does that entail? You get your PhD so that you could be Dr. Drag Queen? I don't get that. Who gets a PhD in performance studies?
Imagine the plot twist if she was actually a physics professor or something.
Right. And then it would be like, cool. I don't even think this person is necessarily showing up to work in drag. They might. I mean, they're teaching gender and sexuality, so it seems fine. But to do that, and I guess they would be free to do that, but I think that this guy, Kareem, whatever, is just going to show up as like his normal self, you know, the PhD in performance studies, and he's just going to teach kids about, well, here. His research focuses on the intersection of queer nightlife, global politics, ethnography, and the South Asian diaspora, also drag. So queer nightlife, global politics, where those things meet. That's this guy's expertise. Wow. He's written at least 7 academic journals. 7 academic journals have published his work. And he is going to, quote, bring the nightclub to the classroom. So Harvard educated means you might be an expert in drag. That is the Harvard education now. It used to be a prestigious organization and a prestigious school to get higher learning. And now it's just woke drag queens. Dr. Lahore Vagistan is going to teach you about the intersection between gay nightlife and global politics. So, and what's the cost, you know? I'd love to know what they're paying him, what each student is paying for this class. Honey, what did you learn in school this semester? Well, Dr. Lahore Vagistan taught me about gay nightlife. We used to be a society.
I'm looking up here. The average salary for a Harvard professor can vary, but recent data suggests is above $200,000 annually.
And you know what? I would do it too for a check.
Yeah. Well,
$200,000 is a F ton of money. You are very well off. You get to teach drag to Harvard students. I mean, why wouldn't you put that on your resume? There's clearly a market for it. I guess people want to take this class and Harvard wants to give the class, and this Dr. Lavajistan or whatever, Lahore Vajistan wants to teach the class. So there it is. I don't
recall if it was Harvard or another Ivy, but I recall reading an article recently about a class on Taylor Swift.
Of course.
Yeah, deep studies of her lyrics and all.
Well, speaking of, her new album came out today, and everything that I've heard has been against my will on TikTok. I've just seen videos and clips of these songs, and boy, it's Taylor Swift. I'll say that.
You don't like her?
Nope.
Oh, I hold no opinion on her, but she's very popular.
She is very popular. I feel like it's a psyop. She is very popular. The lyrics are not good. The songs themselves are not good. She's not a good performer. She's not that great of a singer. It's just all very odd. She's got crazy fans, and she's very good at marketing herself. Clearly, she's a business genius. I'm not taking that away from her. But I don't know. I don't really understand the hype. I'm not impressed with anything that I've heard, the snippets on TikTok, and it just seems like even some of her fans are not impressed with this new album. So people said that her lyrics are not the same, that she has maybe dumbed down her lyrics so that Travis Kelce, her fiance, could understand them. These are the allegations from Swifties themselves. Don't come for me. But yeah, I'm not impressed. I'm just not impressed. Anyway, Maxwell House is going through a name change. So Maxwell House, the coffee company, they are going through this name change. It is going to be Maxwell Apartment. And here's the press release. For the first time in 133 years, Maxwell House rebrands as Maxwell Apartment. And basically this is all because they say they are meeting the needs of today's consumer. And a lot of people in the United States, I think 1 in 3, choose to rent versus own a house. So they are trying to appeal to the apartment poor people in this country, myself included. And apparently this all started on National Coffee Day, which is September 29th. This is also ridiculous. There's a day for everything. But National Coffee Day, Maxwell House, they have given a 12-month lease offer on Maxwell Apartment coffee. So basically for under $40, fans of this coffee can stock up their pantry with a year full of coffee. So they are supposed to save coffee enthusiasts more than $1,000 annually. That is their goal, which I think is cool. This is not, when I clicked on this headline, I thought, oh my goodness, this is going to be like another Cracker Barrel thing. But it's not. I think this is a recession indicator. I think, I do appreciate the brand understanding its audience, understanding the economic climate, knowing that coffee is essential for most people. We all wake up, I choose to drink blackout coffee, but that's just me. But people wake up, they drink their coffee in the morning, and it's essential, right? I mean, a lot of people giving up coffee is not really an option. A lot of us are addicted to it. So I think them meeting people where they are, their consumers where they are, and making it more accessible is a win. I think this is like a fun gimmick. It gets attention that Maxwell House is becoming Maxwell Apartment. They're getting people to sign on for basically a year's worth of coffee for not that much money. I mean, it's very affordable. And a lot of people now, they've got fancy coffee machines, or they opt for a specialty latte at a coffee shop. They end up spending way more than they should. So when money gets tight, you got to cut back on certain things. So I think that this might appeal to the right person. Has found a grenade in their front yard. So this happened in Washington State. A 3-year-old found a live hand grenade in his front yard. So he picked it up, brought it inside to his parents, and his parents were like, I don't know what that is, but let's not touch it. Let's not touch it. Let's call local authorities. So Washington State Patrol had a bomb squad come in. They were called in to assist, and the bomb techs determined that it was a live grenade, and it was from World War II. It was a World War II era live hand grenade. And, you know, maybe we could pull up the photo from the article if you can, but it looks very weathered and it looks like it had been, you know, sitting in the dirt for, I don't know, 80 years maybe. And the bomb squad was able to safely dispose of it. Here's the picture here. So if you're watching on rumble.com/Hayley, Bongino Report channel, you can watch and see this, but it is very weathered. Like I said, it looks like it has been exposed to the elements, the rain. It kind of looks a little rusty, but they were able to safely dispose of it. I think it's really odd that in 80 some odd years, I mean, it's been decades, nobody saw the live hand grenade in the yard. And this is in their front yard too. I don't know how much land these people have. Maybe they live on a bunch of land. I don't know. But no one saw it. And then it also begs the question, are there more live hand grenades from World War II just laying around in people's yards? And if you see one, don't touch it. Just call the police. But that's crazy.
I must say, when I was a kid, I dreamed of finding something like that one
really?
day. Yeah, like some old weapon. I really like history.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be very cool. I'm glad that it didn't, you know, go off or anything like that. It could have been a much different story, but very cool story nonetheless. Also, I want to play this video. We can all fight about this, right? In the chat, we can fight in the comments about whether or not we think this is rude, but this wedding guest ordered a pizza to a wedding ceremony. Watch this.
Am I wrong for ordering a pizza to a wedding after we weren't fed for 8 hours? So I went to a friend's wedding recently and it was an absolutely beautiful day, but it was a really long day. The wedding took place at 12 p.m. and there was photos, drinks, more photos, with no food in sight. When it got to 8 p.m, I was absolutely struggling. I hadn't eaten since breakfast. No food had been served other than a few tiny canapes which disappeared instantly. I was starting to get hangry, so me and my friend who I was with decided to order a pizza sneakily to the venue. When it arrived, I slipped outside to grab it, and I shared it with a couple of other people at the table who were also starving. Word got round, and now the bride is furious with me and said if I'd just been patient, food was arriving in the next 30 minutes. She told me that I embarrassed her and undermined the catering. A couple of guests said that I just did what everyone else was thinking, but some others told me it was tacky and disrespectful. I just don't see how you can expect someone to be at your wedding for 8 hours without feeding them anything. And there wasn't any options to purchase food separately. So am I wrong for ordering a pizza to the middle of a wedding?
I say sure, she's in the wrong. I think that is a very rude and tacky thing to do. Also, you're an adult. You can't not eat for 8 hours. I mean, I guess that's a long time, but 8 hours? I mean, she said it was 8 p.m., so she had breakfast at noon. I feel like this is very normal. I go most days eating breakfast around 11:30 a.m. And sometimes I don't eat until then, until I get home later. And I don't know. And I'm a hungry person, but I could definitely make it 8 hours without eating. This is, I think this is super rude. Also, not to mention that you go to a wedding and she also said there was no food in sight. And then she said there was past food around, but it like disappeared. So clearly there was food. She just didn't get it.
It seems to me that she would benefit from some intermittent fasting.
I agree. Intermittent fasting is good. It is good for you. You don't have to eat every 2 hours, you know. Be an adult. Also, if you know that you are hungry, you're a hungry person who likes to eat, that is on you to bring a granola bar or something. You can't just rely on other people to feed you. I don't know. I bring a water bottle with me everywhere because I know that there might not be one there for me where I'm going. You can't just expect that. I think it's super rude and tacky. Anyway, this is the craziest headline that I've seen in a while. This is, you know how I love my airport stories, my airport and airplane chaos, right? So a flight was diverted after strange passengers started to freak out and then eat and flush their own passports. So this happened on a Ryanair flight from Milan, Italy to London, and they had to make an emergency landing. This was a few days ago. This was last week. No, this week. And passengers started freaking out because they saw that there was some kind of a commotion happening at the front of the airplane. This is because two men started to tear pages out of their passport and then eat them. People started to look over, notice this. Now people are grumbling, realizing something's going on, right? Then one of the men went to the bathroom and tried to flush the passport down the toilet, which makes me think that maybe these were fake passports, but also once you are on the plane, no one's checking your passport. So maybe, I don't know, could they have just gotten rid of the passports in the airport? I don't know. What would make you eat a passport? I don't know. But the pilots tried to get into, not the pilots, the flight attendants tried to get into the bathroom when he was trying to flush his passport. I don't know how they knew that he was trying to flush his passport. But anyway, flight attendants tried to get into the bathroom. He would not allow them into the bathroom. At that point, the pilot said, we have to divert the flight to Paris. And that is when French authorities came onto the aircraft and arrested these two guys. What would be the purpose, do you think, of eating your own passport and trying to flush it down the toilet? It has to be fake, right? And then it's like, how did they get on the plane with a fake passport? Again, I'm not excited to fly these days. All these stories just don't make me excited to fly. Speaking of gross things and eating gross things, this guy I think his name is Steven. He goes by Steven MRE on YouTube. He eats military rations that are very old. So let's take a listen to this.
I love this guy, by the way. I've been following this guy. His videos for a while.
I just saw this the other day, but yes, he's been doing this for years. So maybe people in the chat have seen this before, but yeah, he eats these military rations. Watch this. So these are like, you could tell that the packaging is from a long time ago.
This is a Second Boer War British Armed Forces Emergency Ration Field Service. It was produced anywhere between 1899 and 1902. The way that box smells, there's nothing like it. We're going to be cooking 118-year-old dried beef from the Boer War. So that's fat or something. I'm biting down on that, and it's just, I don't know what that is. Yeah, it definitely smells like foul meat, you know? Meat and eggs. Eat cold or after heating by boiling can water. Assorted biscuits, coffee, add 1/3 canteen cup of hot or cold water. A very tart, sweet, and satisfying fruit bar. Look at that thing. That's a beaut, isn't it? 1992. Was stored under utmost conditions. I always make poor food choices when I've been awake for a long time. Ew. You know, this is like one of those days.
Those are eggs?
So there's something about this right now that's even more satisfying than usual. So this was a 1992 data production, meal ready to eat individual. Menu 8.
This is a slice of ham. Ugh.
I'm going to go eat a tum.
And there's, I don't know, some kind of juice on that ham slice. I don't know what it is, but not appetizing. Is his stomach made of Teflon or something? I don't understand how you can eat foul meat that is over 100 years old and not die.
It speaks to the preservation, right, of these MREs.
Yeah.
The technology took leaps and bounds in that era.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it makes you think too, because he taste tests a lot of different of these, ready to eat meals, right? So some of them are from 2024. Some of them are from, 10 years ago. I would maybe try them from 10 years ago. I wouldn't go 100. That's crazy.
Yeah, his videos are very nice. Like, he does have this like calming, like soothing quality. So it's like almost the Bob Ross of
the
rations.
Bob Ross of military rations. Yes. I wonder where he gets them.
You can purchase them online. They're quite expensive. These vintage ones.
I bet.
Yeah, I don't know where he sources of the more peculiar ones there.
I saw one too where he was eating lasagna or something. So that was 118-year-old beef, which is so foul. I can't even think about that. Then that was the breakfast from 1945, the meat and eggs one that you just mix with water. And then that ham slice was from 1992. That ham slice is older than I am. And the beef. Yeah, that's something. That is something. Anyway, let's get into some scrolling time. All right. This video is just shocking to see how quickly these videos go viral. It's total misinformation, but of course people latch on to these kinds of narratives because it fits the narrative that they're trying to push. And that narrative is that ICE is just willy-nilly detaining Black people in Chicago. Watch this.
ICE is now detaining African-American citizens in Chicago, like as we speak. And governor has come out and said to record everything, narrate everything, make sure everything is documented, ask for their badge number, even if they refuse, get them on camera. But I'm gonna say that again. ICE is now detaining Black citizens in Chicago. For every Black American that got on the internet and this app and refused to talk about what ICE was doing and what is going on in our country, because I don't really care about the Hispanic community because they don't care about us, which is BS in of itself, but that's a whole nother conversation. We told you that we would be next, right? And y'all didn't listen. And look. So this is a sign for everyone to get off their damn high horses and start caring about what is going on in your communities and in your nation. Whether or not is this happening to someone who looks like you. Simply because we are human. This shit is not okay. And we've been yelling that.
Yeah, so if you see that video and you're uninformed, you would think, oh my gosh, this is horrible. The Trump administration, they're just, they're picking Black people up off the street and arresting them, detaining them, which of course is not happening. What DHS is doing, and they put out a statement, in the early morning hours of September 30th, allied federal law enforcement agencies with CBP, FBI, and ATF executed an enforcement operation in Chicago's South Shore area. Get this, a location known to be frequented by Tren de Aragua gang members and their associates. Some of the targeted subjects are believed to be involved in drug trafficking and distribution, weapons crimes, and immigration violators. So they had arrested a group of 37 people. Now, are they being targeted for their skin color? No. They are drug traffickers and criminals who might happen to have Black skin or brown skin, but that is not why they are being picked up off of the street. They are being picked up off of the street and arrested because they are allegedly members of gangs and they have weapons crimes and drug offenses, like I just said. So again, then you see a video like that, it goes massively viral, and it's just fear-mongering because people think, oh my gosh, I'm Black. ICE is going to pick me up off of the street and disappear me, like they say in the mainstream media. If you are not a Tren de Aragua gang member, don't worry about it. If you're not trafficking drugs, don't worry about it. You have nothing to worry about. Do what you're supposed to do and you have nothing to worry about. It's just totally ridiculous. All right, LSU students were protesting because this all was taking place at a presidential search committee. Former LSU president William Tate resigned back in May, and they're searching for a new one, right? So all of these LSU students, they just charged into this meeting where they're picking their new or potentially meeting to pick a new president, and this is what that looked like. Watch.
You fascist piece of shit! Get the f*** off me! Get the f*** off me! Am I being detained? Am I being detained? Am I being detained, sir?
Yep. So these are university administrators. They are sitting in a meeting room, just trying to have a meeting. And these protesters barge in. They're wearing a shirt that says, "Not a MAGA president." Who cares? Who cares? Am I the only person? I went to college. I went to college for 4 years. I couldn't tell you who the president of my college was. I never thought about it. It did not matter. I went to class. I did well. I graduated with honors. I had fun with my friends. I had the quintessential college experience. Did not know who the president. I could not tell you. If there was a gun to my head, I could not tell you the president. Why these people care so much and so deeply about their president and where the president aligns politically just tells me that these kids are just, I think, too involved. Be a college kid and don't worry about all this other stuff. I mean, what is the university president doing that is going to change their lives so much? I was a college student. I don't even remember who the president was or anything that they did or who they voted for or anything. Like, why does this even matter? Anyway, here's another protester. They were protesting a Turning Point event and they got, well, pretty vile. Watch.
I'll be praying for you.
Dickhead.
Okay, thank you. Have a good day, ma'am.
Did you jack off your dad last night?
Have
Suck his dick?
a good night, ma'am.
And your mommy?
Have a good night, ma'am.
Well, that was a protester at a Turning Point event. The sign says F Turning Point. And then the funny part is the woman says, I can't call her a lady, but she's a woman. And she said, did you suck off your dad and then also your mom? Which is only a leftist would say that. Republicans' moms are not being sucked off. I would say that. I think this is just a liberal problem. Anyway, this person is talking about her liberal friends and having liberal friends versus having a MAGA dad and what that dynamic is like. Watch this.
I love having super liberal friends and then also super Republican dad because my liberal friends will be like, well, just let your dad know that next time he wants to go out of the country, he can't. Yeah, if he wants to go on a nice luxurious vacation in Costa Rica, he is no longer welcome. And I'm like, I don't think you understand. That's not what my dad wants to do. My dad, last time I talked to my dad, he's building a bunker. He told me he's putting cans in the basement in case like they're coming. I don't know who they are, but I'm telling you, liberals, go enjoy life. Please go view the country, go see the world. It's beautiful because I promise you, the MAGA people are not leaving their hometown. Okay, they're building bunkers. They're boring. They don't leave. My dad was like, just in case something were to happen, I built the bunker. And I'm like, you know what sounds better than living in a bunker with you? Dying in Costa Rica. So like, stop arguing. They don't want to leave anyway.
This speaks to me as a conservative person that rarely leaves my hometown because I feel like I'm working all the time. So I don't really go on vacation much. And also, I would love a bunker. I would love a doomsday bunker. If I didn't live in an apartment and I had more space, I would totally be not a hoarder. What is it? Those people, the coupon, they clip the coupons and then they have like they stockpile water and food
like
in their
prepper.
I would totally do that if I had the room. Why not just have non-perishable food? I'm going to be like the guy eating 118-year-old beef because I'm just going to have it in my garage one day.
I have a supply of food.
Yeah, of course you should.
Ammunition as well is quite important.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a bunker to be prepared, but
No.
it would be nice, a cozy bunker. I would enjoy it too.
I like it. And if you have a lot of money, like Mark Zuckerberg's building one hell of a bunker in Hawaii. But if you have a good amount of money, I see videos on TikTok. I'm going to have to find them and we'll play them next week. People get crazy with their bunkers. They're very nice. I would love to sit in one and they're like hidden. I saw one, they pushed a button and it was like their island in their kitchen kind of like lifted up and then there was a secret door. I love all that stuff.
That is so cool.
It's so cool. So yeah, this girl's totally right. I am not seeing the world and I am dreaming about my doomsday bunker one day. All right, do we have blind reactions? We'll end on those.
I'm fighting very hard for border security, so important. I've already started building the wall. We've built large sections, and we're fixing up a lot of other sections that are a mess. So you have ports of entry, and we have great security at the ports of entry. And then you may have fencing or walls up and down, left and right, east and west.
What can't he do, right? Our president. So if you're listening and not watching, you know how he uses the hand motions when he speaks. He talks with his hands like a true New Yorker, right? Talks with his hands, and he does this. It looks like he's playing the accordion. So this person put an accordion in his hands, a fake accordion. But I think he should try it when he retires from being president in 3 years. Maybe he has a future doing that. All right, hit me with the next one.
Did you do it? Did you do it? Did you do it? Yes.
Just married, and he officially took my last name. This man is not straight.
Where's the fucking molars? Bitch.
We're the molars. Like the movie We're the Millers. We're the molars.
Yeah, we're the molars.
What's on your shirt?
I smell it.
Okay, so this is a couple. The husband took the wife's last name, which is certainly not traditional. I feel like it's more popular now that women are just not changing their last names, but to have the guy take your last name is odd. I mean, if you don't want to take his last name, then I guess fine. I envision myself taking someone's last name one day, but I don't know.
Let's put it this way, I wouldn't do it. I think it's a little bit cringe, just breaking with the tradition and all.
Yeah, I agree.
The connotations, like I said, un poco gay, yeah.
Well, he also is kind of acting gay. In the video, I was getting gay vibes, so I wouldn't be shocked. Maybe this, I don't know. Yeah, I see these things. I see videos of girls proposing to their boyfriends or whatever. I'm like, this is so cringe. That could not be me. Could not be me. I could understand, if I fell in love with someone and their last name was like Gross or Dookie or something. I feel like I'm not taking this. But I can't see that happening.
All right, this last one is about dating, so I would like your opinion on it.
If you could give a single girl some dating advice, what would you say to her?
How old?
Let's say she's like 21.
Oh, 21. Fuck. Just bring them all. Bring them all, because men are so immature that you're not gonna lock anyone down. Don't even start thinking yet about the husband stuff. But I will say, bang dudes quietly. Don't tell everybody. Shut the fuck up about it. Just go do your business. Bang girls, bang guys, fucking dogs, trans, whatever you want. But keep an eye out for the good ones in your college.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? Like, keep the solid dudes in your back pocket. Like, befriend them, but don't f them or date them or nothing until you're kind of like older and you're ready to like settle down with a boy.
Yeah.
And then call that guy up, like that one you had your eyes on. And I'll be like, what's up?
Yeah, the solid dudes are not going to want to date you after you're ran through. That's horrible advice. Also, for a 21-year-old, the advice I would give is to get married. Like, I don't really subscribe to the advice, and people attribute this to Charlie Kirk and other people in conservative media who say, get married young, have more kids than you can afford. I don't believe in that. I believe in getting married to the right person. So if you're young, if you're 21 years old and you are with someone, I would say that's pretty young. I think as long as you know who this person is, I think the younger you are, the longer you have to date them to make sure that this is someone that you can grow with. Later in life, I think people know more of like who they are, and I think it's easier to get married and have that process go faster. But at 21 years old, I would say make sure you're marrying the right person. Make sure you travel with that person. Make sure you go through a hard time with that person. Make sure that this is someone who is going to be ride or die and someone that you can have children with and go through hard things with. But that advice, that's Tom Segura's wife, I believe, on the podcast.
Yeah, I forgot what her name is. Mary P or something.
I forget.
The podcast called First Date.
That is horrible advice to sleep around and then hope that a good guy will like you later. I think that that's bad advice to give to young women.
If I may add, I think just dating with intentionality, like, saying you're going to get married to the first person you meet in college, but, if you treat it trivially, you're going to get trivial results.
Agreed. And I would also say, too, to the get married young, have more kids than you can afford, I don't think you should have more kids than you can afford. I think having an appropriate amount of kids that you can financially provide for is good advice.
Well, having kids is also a good motivator.
Yeah, it is. It's a good motivator, but I think being able to financially provide for all of the kids equally is also important, to not have more kids to the point where your first kid gets to go to college and then your third kid doesn't, or your first kid gets to go to private school and then your third kid doesn't. I just think being able to kind of have a financial plan in place before you have kids, and then you kind of have a plan of how many you want, I think is also important. But what do I know? I'm not married and I don't have kids, so don't hold me to it. But thank you for watching this episode of